Abnormal results, high risk, clinical outcome unknown. At night, Ray pulls a pillow between her legs and lets the pain scissor at her. She feels like a gut shot animal lying in the road. Ray was not raised with religion, so when she sees the blood in the toilet, she invents her own prayers. After the results from the third set of tests come back, she starts begging anything that might be listening to save her baby. And then, lo, something does answer. I can help you. It spoke without speaking, glowing low on the horizon. She had made it over the ledge of 4 a.m. to 5 a.m., what she'd once believed to be a safe hour, the out of the woods hour. What are you? The voice tipped out of the red light. That's the wrong question. What would you like me to do? Orange World, the new parents educator says, is where most of us live. She shows a slide, a smiling baby with a magenta birthmark hooping her eye. No, a burn mark. The slides jump back in time to the irreversible error. Here is the sleepy father holding a teapot. Orange World is a nest of tangled electrical cords and open drawers filled with steak knives. It's a baby's fat hand hovering over the blushing coils of a toaster oven. It's a crib, purchased used. We all make certain compromises, of course. We do things we know to be unsafe. You take a shower with your baby, and suddenly, the educator knocks her fist on the table to mimic the gavel rap of an infant's skull on marble. Her voice lowers to a whisper. Too late, the final crime. You fall asleep together on the sofa. Only one of you wakes up. Don't fall asleep, Ray dutifully takes down. Orange World. They have already covered Green World, a fantasy realm of soft corners and infinite attention. Orange World, it seems, is this world, viewed through a spyglass of fire. Welcome home, baby, says a banner hanging in the classroom's dark corner. I want to acknowledge that Green World is the ideal, but Orange World is where most of us live, the educator repeats. Next, they watch a parental horror movie in photo stills titled Red World. The educator, in her bright Australian accent, encourages them to imagine babies falling down stairwells and elevator chutes, speared by metal and flung from passenger seats, drowning in toilet bowls and choking on grapes. Ray has never made it this far into a pregnancy before. Hers is a geriatric pregnancy. Her husband finds this language hilarious, like Sarah in the Bible. Everybody gets a swaddle and a baby doll. The head comes off of Ray's. While she is jamming the head back on, the swaddle floats to the ground. Picking the swaddle up, she steps on it. Sneaker bacteria, Orange World, decapitation, Red World. Your head is on backward, love. The educator watches as Ray wrenches it around. You should go to the new moms group, the educator suggests. It's a great resource for first-time mothers. Veteran moms show you the ropes. Ray smiles and thanks her. In this crowded room of cheerful, expectant people, there is no space to say, I don't know if there will be a baby. On the first night that the devil appeared to her, her husband was on a trip to New York to woo new clients. Woo, what a dumb verb. Woo, she screamed, dropping to all fours on the stairs. The pain expanded to fill the empty house. When the pain threatened to take off the roof, she pulled on a wool shirt and stumbled into the moonlit street, a hand spread against her belly. Help me, Ray begged. The neighboring houses stared down at her little blank-faced jurors. She limped across the road. Strange light brimmed in the gutter that ran along the sidewalk. Its source was unclear. As she advanced, the light changed color, developing a reddish tint. It was a very short step through this mist into the gutter. Wading through ankle-deep water, Ray cried out. Pain folded her knees below her. A taut and fiery string ran from her pelvis to her throat, and it felt as though some secret hand kept plucking at it. This is how the devil woos you. Before you know it is the devil. A bodiless, luminous voice rose out of the storm drain. Yes, she heard herself promise. Anything. 3 months later, Ray pauses in the bedroom doorway to watch her newborn son breathing. He's got a very mature snore, this baby. His father is also sawing logs. She could listen to their duet all night. Green World. The baby was born on the winter solstice, emerging into a world of lengthening light. He was born healthy, just as the voice in the gutter had promised. Already, Ray's brain had rewired itself to wake her at 4:35 a.m. Outside, snow pours through the neighbor's leafless birches. The flakes feel wonderful on her upturned face, her fever-freckled chest. Why hadn't she thought to appeal to heaven? Ray wonders now. She took the first deal offered. She's done a better job negotiating for the Subaru. Ray kneels in the gutter, on a thick paste of dead leaves. She unbuttons her shirt to the navel. Snow wakes groggily into water. A trickling stream that carries beer tabs and flashing ice into the storm drain. She fishes for the clasp of her bra. Her breasts are straining against the thin lace. On the opposite side of the street, her own home gazes back at her. The windows look like holes that any monster could reach through. The walls seem blue and pregnable. Like clockwork, at 4:44, the devil appears, making itself out of fog and solidifying. Its tone has changed completely since the baby's birth. No longer does it offer any green guarantees, promising safety to her child, her friends, her family. These nights, it's all red threat. Feed me, or else. So she does. The gutter is a cold canoe. Ray lowers onto an elbow, stretching flat. Asphalt pushes at her shoulders, her tailbone. It seems impossible that she hasn't gotten sick yet in all these weeks of appointments. Perhaps the devil is keeping her well. She tries not to look at it. When she looks at it, her milk dries up. It lays its triangular head on her collarbone, uses its thin-fingered paws to squeeze milk from her left breast into its hairy snout. Its tail curls round her waist. Unlike her son, the devil has dozens of irregular teeth, fanged and broken, in 3 rows. Some lie flat against the gums, like bright arrowheads in green mud. Its lips make a cold collar around her nipple. She feels the tugging deep in her groin, a menstrual aching. Milk gushes out of her, more milk than it seems any single body could possibly produce. More milk, she's sure, than her baby ever gets. Below her, the devil makes a queer gurgling sound. Tonight, it has a long paddle-like tail, erratically needled, like a balding cactus, which lashes at her side. She feels blood racing away from a fresh cut. It drinks, it drinks. More milk floods around its lips, turning its fur shiny and wet. She hears the devil's swallows slowing, its thorny lashes fluttering against her skin. Its head lolls onto her chest, breath whistling through its teeth. Without thinking, she smooths a raw spot between its ears. God damn it. The devil has bitten her. It pushes off her stomach with its clawed feet. It wobbles through the melting snow, its belly swaying beneath it, and vanishes through the bars of the storm drain. She stares at the eerie triple imprint of its teeth, already shrinking from view. The first time, she thought that she'd have to disguise these scratches and bruises, the bloody evidence of their feedings. But, by true dawn, the worst of the wounds had vanished, erased by some bad magic, leaving only a lurid rash. She's back in bed 3 minutes before her husband stirs on the pillow. There you are, he says, smiling. Our boy slept well, didn't he? Ray's mother calls to see how things are going. Her mother would be here, but she is caring for her own mother on the opposite side of the world, in a hospice facility. Her heart is breaking, not to be with her daughter, just as Ray's is breaking, not to be with her mother and her grandmother. The breaking is continuous. In the Ouroboros of caretaking, guilt and fear, and love continuously swallow one another. I love you, they tell each other frequently on these calls. More truth won't fit through the tiny colander of the telephone receiver. Ray admits that she is having some difficulties with nursing. Oh, God, don't feel guilty, her mother says. Give him a bottle already. You were all formula fed, and look how you turned out. This is not particularly reassuring to Ray, although she appreciates the impulse. There is no natural moment in the conversation to say, Mother, the devil has me. 16 weeks into the pregnancy, Ray had received a call from a genetic counselor. Something had gone from being possibly wrong to probably wrong. In her dream that night, the genetic counselor was picking out nail polish for her. This black or this black? This one? In the best of circumstances, a pregnancy was a walk down a gangplank, but theirs were not the best of circumstances. The genetic counselor had told Ray and her husband. It is a scary result, she acknowledged. The numbers kept changing on them. 1 in 100, 1 in 50, 1 in 14. Even early on, when the odds were with them, Ray had feared this outcome. Somebody has to be the one. With the dark egotism, she felt certain that she and the baby would be the raffle winners. If you believe that, what else do you believe? But then, a day later, by the train tracks, where pollen floats in a spectral yellow migration to the Willamette River, 2 deer appear, fawns, preceding their mother like tiny spotted footmen. It's a sign, all will be well. And, still, she hears the calm, dry voice inside her. If you believe that, what else do you believe? Even as a girl, Ray was a terrible negotiator. She gave anybody anything they asked of her. She owed the world owned her. She never felt that she could simply take up space. No, one had to earn one's keep here on planet Earth. As a kid, Ray's body soundlessly absorbed the painful things that happened to it, and not even an echo of certain events escaped her lips. Sometimes she thought the problem, the gift she'd once believed, was anatomical. She didn't seem to have a gag reflex, so none of the secret stuff, the gushy black awful stuff, ever came out. Now it lives inside her, liquefying, inadmissible, indigestible event. Is that what the devil is drinking? At 9:09 and 11:32 and 1:19 and 2:04 and 3:22 and 6:12, Ray's son wakes up. They wake together, her eyes flying open, just as his wailing rises beside her. Before she knows what she is rolling toward his voice. Night brightens into morning, and they are together for the pivot. Green world. The wailing is profoundly consolable. It is the question to which she is the answer. The milk satisfies hunger and thirst. It moves softly between their bodies, quieting both of them. Joy has been the great surprise of motherhood. The flood of love for the baby is so fierce that she is always trying to qualify it to herself, to hide it from her own inner sight. Hormones. Of course, it's all hormones. Hormones? Under her chin, the baby burps. He's wearing pajamas that make him look like a tiny medieval friar. The love winging around the room scares her with its annihilating force. It's loosening the corset strings of her history, the incarcerated fat of personality. She and the baby are one body again, nourishing itself. For perhaps the first time in her life, she knows what to do, and she does it. The new moms group meets at the Milk and Honey Co-op, a cheerfully derelict storefront between King of Subs and the weed dispensary, just minutes from Ray's house. One Wednesday at 10:27 a.m., she puts the baby in his carrier and walks down the hill, kissing his fuzzy head every third step. "Don't worry, baby," she tells him. "This is just anthropology." Did you know? She overhears a woman in line to buy a sack of oats telling her friend, "That breast milk is made from our blood. Isn't the body amazing?" "That doesn't sound true, Ellen," the friend says, with a blazing lucidity that Ray wants to warm her hands over. "That's what I thought," Ellen says placatingly. "But Google it. Read the science." Then she winks at the cashier, Nestor, whom Ray knows because he works a second shift at the gas station where she buys or bought cigarettes. Nestor recognizes Ray and grins. "Hey, what are you doing here?" he asks. "This is a healthy food store. No cigarettes." She stifles the impulse to lie. "I'm here for the new moms group." When Nestor raises a brow, she laughs and says, "Yes, I know. I'm old. Old women can also be newborn. Anybody can." The new moms group sits in a circle on a faux fur rug in the homey, dingy back room. Every adult face looks freakishly huge to Ray. The new moms get pink name tags, the old moms red ones. It's Valentine's Day, a fact that shocks Ray. That's not the kind of time she's been keeping. Yvette, the group leader, announces that they will share around the circle. "Okay," one of the new moms says. She's a white woman, wearing sunglasses and overalls and transmitting a definite hostility to being looked at, like a vampire or a vacationing Olsen. "I'll start. My name is Lizette, and I had a baby girl 3 weeks ago. I'm wearing a diaper right now. I've been finding quarter-sized clots of blood in my pants. I piss blood when I sneeze. Okay, pass." "Hello, my name is Floor," a hollow-eyed black woman with a newborn gumming her turtleneck says. "And this is baby Dennis. Baby Dennis wakes up every 20 minutes. My name is Halima. I had a C-section, and I feel like a library where they misshelved all the books." These women's struggles are identical to Ray's, and yet she has to fight down her distaste, the voice that says, "So what?" and "Shut up," and "You should be ashamed of yourself." "I am a sexist," she admits to herself. Ray notes the rise of acidity in her body as she listens to the mothers describe their secret torments and night terrors and pelvic agonies. "My name is Rebecca," a white woman around Ray's age says, and has smile lines and a topless blue mermaid tattooed on her left biceps. Ray envies the mermaid. Gravity is on her side under the sea. "Rebecca?" someone hopefully suggests. "Rebecca," Rebecca repeats. For nearly 5 minutes, she shares about her sciatica. Does she have a baby? It's unclear. What she definitely has is sciatica. Little babies are yawning all around the circle, held on laps and centered against chests. It's hard not to view the mothers as their large ventriloquist dummies, yapping away while the babies pull the strings. When they get to Ray, she freezes. "Don't be shy," Yvette says. Yvette is a mother of 3 or 4. Ray didn't catch the exact number. Her children keep running up to her and radiating off again in an explosion of organic crumbs. She wears her black hair in a high ponytail and looks suspiciously radiant to Ray. She grew up in Miami and works as a choreographer for a dance company. In all her movements, there's a spirited efficiency, a sort of freestyle grace, warm-blooded and unrobotic. She seems to take real pleasure in helping the bewildered new mothers orient themselves in the postpartum tall grass, but she clearly enjoys her role as Yvette the veteran, Yvette the alpha mom. "I'm having a hard time with night feedings," Ray finally says. Everyone clucks. Advice rolls over her. Ferber, no cry, weighted blankets, white noise machines. Has she tried Baby Merlin's magic sleep suit? Binkies? Lovies? These words embarrass her. They seem to leach the intelligence from her body, in a way that the starving devil leaches minerals from her bones. At the end of the meeting, Yvette approaches her. They stand in the bee products aisle, surrounded by castles of natural laxatives. "I hope that wasn't too overwhelming," Yvette says. "Really, You just need to experiment and find out what works for your baby. The baby. I love the baby. I love nursing the real baby. Ray feels dizzy from sleeplessness. She can feel herself blinking rapidly, water escaping down her cheeks. Oh, God. For years, she was a vault, but now she's a leaky mess. She can't keep anything inside herself, not the blood ruining her underwear, or her oozing milk, or the moisture in her eyes, or the words beating on her tongue. It's not our baby I was asking about. Every night since I got home from the hospital, I've been nursing the devil. Ray describes the devil in a rush, with a sick satisfaction, its bulging eyes and the spiny paddle of its tail, the way that it looks sometimes like a prehistoric porcupine, sometimes like a sort of mutant red raccoon. Now she watches Yvette's face and awaits her reassignment, from weary stranger to dangerous lunatic. Yvette doesn't bat a false eyelash. Indeed, a look of naked exasperation flashes across her carefully made up face. That fucking thing, it's been coming south of Powell. The aisle seems to narrow, enclosing them in a daylit tunnel. Is Yvette making fun of her? You've heard of it? Uh-huh. 2 winters ago, after my second daughter was born, it came around every night. It moved under my house and never shut up. She shakes her head. Ray's cheeks are on fire. Did it promise you something, too? Oh, Yvette says, and laughs bitterly. It certainly tried. I wasn't interested. Shame nettles over Ray's skull like a tight red cap. I see. Well, I bit? I made a deal with it. Smoothing her hair back from her temples, Yvette fails to conceal her disappointment. She has long acrylic nails, a chic blue. Rookie mistake, babe. Rookie mistake? Her whole body flushed. Ray leans in to defend herself, which somehow results in an impassioned defense of the very entity that is draining her life. It saved my child, when he was still inside me. That thing, Yvette laughs angrily, that thing can't add a minute to your child's life, and it can't take a minute away. It preys. That's all it does. It feeds on blood. Down the aisle, Yvette's children are drawing on the freezer door with beeswax lip balm, giggling. As Ray watches, the older boy takes a big bite of wax and swallows. Ray looks at Yvette with a freezing dread, a melting relief. Are you sure? It was pretty convincing. Its eyes, you see. Yes, I know, Yvette snaps irritably, and the voice like a peal of thunder. Ray nods warily. It feels like sacrilege to be discussing this out loud at noon. Whatever you do, Yvette says, don't read anything online. Those message board bitches are crazy. They'll tell you your baby is going to die and sign off with an angel emoji. Yvette scribbles her number on a piece of paper and hands it to Ray. Here, call me sometime. You have to break the cycle. The baby is awake, blinking its dark, innocent eyes. Now Ray worries that Yvette is the lunatic. What is this woman saying? How can she possibly advise breaking a compact with the devil? Look, it is not the devil, okay? It's not? It's a devil, like one of the little ones, a knockoff Satan. Ray swallows her shame. It's not omnipotent. It doesn't claim that, but it is powerful, the things it knows. You really think it's reading your thoughts? Yvette yawns. A plant could do that. No, you don't understand. Ray looks down at her son's wispy head, pale as lettuce with intricate blue veins. Veteran mothers seem so smugly certain of everything. Yvette, with her cloth diapers and her homemade yogurt, how does Yvette know for certain what the devil can and cannot do? It can't do shit. It's not clairvoyant. It's just a rat fink with a taste for mother's milk. Yvette's daughter darts between them, a strong, beautiful girl. She sticks her tongue out at Ray. Quit feeding it. Cold turkey. You'll see. For a while, Ray is almost euphoric with relief, but as the sun sets, her fear rises. While her husband and her son sleep, Ray reads news stories on her tiny screen. Red world stories. Women in ICE detention centers, separated from their children. Women in Beijing, afraid to breathe the toxic air. She reads and reads until her teeth are vibrating from the sustained pedal of the tragic news cycle. The horror feels bottomless. She wonders how far afield the devil goes. There are deals to be made all over the globe. By the time 4 a.m. rolls around, her resolve has evaporated. Ray sees that she has no choice. She has to feed it. To deviate from the pattern she's established would be to risk other deviations. Even the walk from the front door to the gutter is beset with peril. More snow crystals the trees. A car full of teenagers comes shrieking around the corner, blowing through 2 stop signs. Only one of the taillights is working. Before giving birth, Ray wouldn't have blinked at any of this. Now she hears the ticking menace, latent in the most banal arrangements of weathers and objects and personalities. Orange world, the freezing sky and the night, and all the people in it. Carefully, Ray lowers herself into the gutter. She grips the asphalt, recalling her labor, that earth-splitting pressure. Pain can mean such different things, depending on what you believe is drawing closer to you, pushing into view. The devil's tongue has a ridge that splits it down the center. Her extraordinary rash infernally authored, is easy to conceal as an ordinary rash. Nobody wants to look too closely when she nurses, not even her husband. Nobody but Ray is studying her left breast like a painting. Grains of psychedelic color stand out against her skin, a braille that says, "The devil was here." Unlike her son, the devil has no problem latching on. The pain is bearable if she focuses on the nursery window, gleaming on the opposite side of the empty road. Then it starts to chew, and reflex gets the better of her. She shrieks, unthinking, and pulls its snout from her breast. No sooner is she free of the latch than the visions pour into her, a dark flood. "What are you, really?" she asks. Standing on its hind legs in the gutter, foaming and bristling, it seems to grow larger and thicker, wilder and sicker, its bright, eggy eyes gleaming with moisture. Oh, God, is the devil crying? "You're playing me," she accuses. "You think I don't know the literature?" The devil bashes its jaw into her collarbone like a shovel. "Ow! Feed me, or else." Its eyes shine at her. She sees Yvette's face in the sunny co-op. "You can't see the future," she says. "You're just plagiarizing my imagination." How much longer can this continue? A year? 2? Much longer, the devil's ravenous eyes suggest. Starving, even while feasting. Poor thing. Eating fuels hunger. A devil's full belly, flattening as milk, stretches her breasts. She watches her hand reach out to smooth its cold, spiny fur. "See you tomorrow." Fire is spilling around the distant mountain. Limping home, she can feel the road through the sole of one shoe. She forgot to lock the front door behind her. Her son, awake in his crib, sees her face and begins to cry. Perhaps this was the wrong strategy, to antagonize the devil. The next night, the creature sinks its fangs into her. Blood sheets down her breast. Now she's infected with new visions. They seep through the porous boundary between her and the creature, whose snout feels as tight as a clothespin against her skin. "This will be your future," the devil's eyes beam up at her, "if you don't obey me." What it shows her is so monstrously original that she has to bite her cheeks to keep from screaming and waking her son on the other side of the road. Tonight's special. A made-to-order evil. Her devil has never put this on the table in such precise terms. It must be stealing words from the briny jars in her mind, unspoken and unspeakable, because how could a scaly demon rat know the verb predecease? That's right. Tits out. Bitch. The devil feasts. Ray's mother is the best woman Ray knows. What would her mother say if she could see Ray, shivering in the gutter, pulling down her modest nursing bra to top off the devil? A devil? Yet her son has years and years ahead of him, she hopes, on this earth that can spin from green to orange to red in one nuclear flash. The bra is new. The devil stares at it thoughtfully, then eats the sale tag. Only once in all these lonely months of nights is she spotted. Lying on her side, she is caught in the headlights of a garbage truck. She clutches the devil to her, lacing her fingers through its trembling fingers. Something incredible happens. The driver locks eyes with her and then goes right on driving. The implacable pace of the truck, huffing mammoth breaths in the streetlight, makes Ray feel as if she had actually been run over and left for dead. Only as the truck rounds the corner does Ray realize how badly she's been hoping for rescue. Crawling into bed at dawn, she wakes her husband. Adrenaline hums inside her chest. Once again, she's escaped with her dear life. Deep in some hell, the devil, swollen with her milk, is beginning to empty again, even as life surges through her. Her husband sighs happily, rolling toward her. She finds his mouth with her mouth, moves lower. Soon, his body is rigid and awake, his mind still trailing dreams. She has almost forgotten that this kind of synchrony is possible, so different from the bad business being transacted in the gutter. Afterward, stroking the healed bruises above her tailbone, he asks, "Were you feeding the baby this whole time? You must be so tired." "I am, but it feels good to be food." "What?" I said, "I feel lucky to know what it means to be food, before I am dead." January 2. Dear baby, you have been here long enough to accumulate dirt under your fingernails. Ray stares down at her mom's line-a-day journal. At some point, this had sounded like a very manageable goal, 1 line a day, but she is seriously in the red. The last entry, "You are getting a tooth," is followed by a month of snowy blankness. Guiltily, Ray stares at all the empty days. Before her son's birth, she'd worked as a science journalist. This is a new kind of writer's block. February 19. Dear baby, today, a little scratch disappeared above your left eyebrow. All her life, Ray has been rehearsing for the worst imaginable scenarios. Her fears often get fact-checked, their validity confirmed. She's written about the acidifying oceans and sarin attacks. It's psychic whiplash to turn from these assignments to the baby's sleeping face, koala'd against her chest, in a marsupial accessory recommended to her by the old moms. For $49.99, you too can convert your deflated abdomen into a pouch. March 1. Dear baby, I like the way you turn in half circles on the mattress, like a senile clock. The baby sounds cold to Ray, but my baby sounds too cozily proprietary. I am your mother, she tells him instead, reintroducing herself dozens of times each day. We belong together. March 22. Dear baby. She thumbs through the blank pages, shining and white. The happiness she feels is frightening to her. It's nothing she's ever rehearsed for. Only an idiot would try to write about it. Her mother sends her a gift, a smart sock that will beep if the baby's heart stops in his sleep. 2 stars. The top-rated online review gives it. I was expecting to get more use out of this. Look, I don't mean to sound harsh, one of the old moms says, in a Theraflu voice, but you established a precedent. You set up this routine, and now it expects to be fed at the same time every night. Ray nods miserably. She did. It's a vicious cycle. Yvette has convened a special meeting, Friday at 8 p.m., which feels like midnight to Ray. The co-op is closed, its windows shuttered. 6 women sit around the table, old moms with demonic experience. The 7th woman is another new mom, Marie. She and her wife run the piano store on Franklin. Yvette put her in touch with Ray. Sometimes they meet at the park, trotting behind their strollers like bleary centaurs. Marie has also been feeding the devil in a ditch behind the Windy Grove apartments. Marie and Ray sit side by side. Under the table, Marie takes her hand. It feels a little traitorous to make a new friend when she is out of touch with everyone she loves. But it's happening to them, a friendship. She pictures octopuses bobbing in the sea, their tentacles curling around each other. Diaphanous mothers with great swollen heads, bulbous with fear. Shyly, Ray asks the old moms, "Did you bargain with it, too?" A torrent of stories follows, what this devil once promised to do for them. Stop the car from running the red light, shrink the tumor, jail the kidnapper, drain the water from her brain, return the bullets to the gun, swat away the infected mosquito, save the job that pays our rent, prevent the warhead from reaching Western Oregon, keep our sons safe from the police, reverse the spread of leukemia, bring them home to me safely, my babies, oh, please. The interloper, it seems, arrives in a variety of costumes. Mine was a hawk. It descended on me every night and tore at my breast. Mine came as a horse, a miniature horse, or possibly a donkey. It had enormous buck teeth. I'm still missing pieces of my shins. Mine was a bear cub. It had a purple tongue. It sharpened its claws on the fire hydrant. That nobody notices these deficits and bruises says something about the battered invisibility of the postpartum body. People tactfully agree to unsee the brown blood seeping onto their blue sofa cushions, the haunted bulges moving under a friend's sweater. When Ray was pregnant, these same Linda Blair undulations made strangers smile. I saw a foot, a bus driver once gasped, pointing at her abdomen, as if a blue whale had just fluked. I'm not sure what ours is, Ray admits. Maybe a badger? Yvette holds up the ABCs of animals. Together, the mothers review the suspects. Was it an anteater? A bok? It is a capybara, Marie says, with grave finality. The capybara is the largest rodent in the world. It is endemic to South America, a barrel-sized hamster with gingery fur. Ray is not so sure, but she defers to her new friend. Mine was not a devil, Carol, an old mom with carroty curls, says. It was an extraterrestrial. Ray doesn't want to begrudge another woman her confidence, her certainly hard-won confidence in a society that prides itself on dismantling women's testimonies. At the same time, she thinks, bullshit, Carol. It was a devil. Okay, ladies, Yvette says, addressing Ray and Marie. She gives them an exhausted smile, and Ray recognizes the bludgeoned kindness of a mother of 4 children under the age of 3. Wait, is that even possible? 3 children under the age of 5? Her mind is a fog machine. Let's not mince shit. You have to stop feeding this thing. Marie gives Ray a look of utter dismay. Does a problem go away on its own? Yvette says. It does not. Mine did, Carol says. Carol, please, this is not helpful. Look, Marie says, this approach, I'm glad it worked for you, but I'm not ready to wean yet. I'm afraid of it. I don't want my family to suffer. Hello. None of us want our families to suffer. It speaks with great authority about many calamitous possibilities. Then it promises me that if I feed it, these bad things will not come to pass. Rookie mistake, Yvette says. It can't do that for you. She sees Marie's face fall and adds, with surprising gentleness. It's understandable, though. It's not like there's a manual. Actually, there are hundreds of manuals. Ray has several on her nightstand, mostly unread. Do you know about Cleaver Hans? Yvette asks. No? This was a horse, believed by all to be a mathematical genius. What's 2 plus 2, Hans? His owner would ask, and Hans would stamp 4 times with his hoof. Wow, They really lowered the bar for genius for old Hans. Well, it turns out Hans was just a canny motherfucker. He read cues from his owner, and he knew when to start and when to stop clomping. The thing is like that, a manipulator. Marie looks convinced. Ray sees the echo of her own shining fear. What exactly is it promising you? Yvette says. What does it tell you will happen if you quit? I can't say. I'm afraid that speaking these fears will turn them into prophecies. Oh, boy, I have a whole shelf of bullshit for you. The treasure is The Cave. Have you read that? #1 bestseller. Those authors are laughing all the way to the bank. Then Marie explains that her little girl has a fever of 102. The temperature will keep climbing, she knows, unless it helps. And, to help, it needs her milk. What if she gently weans the devil? Yvette shakes her head. Even her no is somehow balletic. Ray watches her swaying ponytail and hears wind in the treetops. Couldn't she leave a bowl of milk out for it occasionally? Cold turkey. Just this once? This extraordinarily terrible night? Cold turkey. We have to stop together, Marie tells Ray after the meeting. Promise me, I can't do this alone. 8 hours later, when she hears the scratching of the little claws on her porch, Ray bolts the door. For the first night since giving birth, Ray nurses only her son. The next morning, when Ray opens the curtains, her devil is skulking along the road in broad daylight. Get the fuck back in the gutter, she says. Get the fuck away from my house. Instead, it runs up a Douglas fir, whipping its long tail around the trunk. It bounces across the power lines, leering at her. 3 black Priuses roll under the devil, unaware. That night, it scratches at the door for hours. It crawls into her skull, whining over the giggling baby as he topples blocks, angrily, then pitifully. Finally, when she can't take it any longer, Ray gets out of bed. She's midway down the stairs when the baby, her real baby, begins to cry. A cry of pure hunger. Beautiful in its fearless fullness, its expectation of an answer. She can't leave her son weeping in his crib, nor, she realizes, can she fail to keep her compact with the creature in the gutter. A compromise, then. Orange world, suiting the poor baby up like a marshmallow at 5 a.m., jerking on a hat, mittens, letting him nurse hungrily on her right breast as she carries him down the steep stairs, opening the door onto the gray, evolving film of dawn, hurrying down the porch steps, her hand pushing through plushy snow to grasp the railing. The snow keeps falling this year, breaking records. Crossing a lake of streetlight to the gutter. It's easier than you'd think, to cross an icy road carrying a nursing infant. She commends herself on her good sense. She's chosen the right footwear. Heavy-duty boots, good soles. Okay, this can work. She can do this, just this once. The creature is waiting at the entrance to the storm drain, washing its paws in the falling water. She balks, just as it starts loping toward them. No, her baby's eyes fly open. His mouth goes slack around her nipple. Her son absorbs her horror and pushes it outward in a long, blossoming cry. Together they retreat into the stillness of the house. Across the street, she can hear the devil hissing at her neighbor's cat. Poor, incontinent Rambo. 2 nights later, an emergency meeting is convened after hours at the Milk and Honey Co-op. Marie looks haunted. I broke, she confesses to the group. The veterans struggle to conceal their disappointment. So did I, Ray admits. I went outside, and it ran right at me and my baby, like a rabid thing. You brought the baby? Orange world. Ray's face is hot. She nods. Okay, Yvette says, breathing loudly through her nose. That's okay. Weaning is a process. Today, I saw it outside, Ray says, howling for me, in noon light. It's going to hurt my family. Well, Yvette says, this appears to be an extreme case, an extreme manifestation of will. I think it's just so hungry, Marie whispers. Ladies, any suggestions? If anybody says the word binky again, I will scream. Valerie, an old mom who has a sexy lisp and or is maybe a little drunk, says, they need help corralling a demon. We can use netting, or a have-a-heart trap. Old moms are nodding. Sweet Zala, a mother of twins and an oncology nurse, pounds a fist on the table. We mothers of Southeast Portland cannot entertain this devil any longer. Marie stiffens beside Ray. Listen, you. She leaves a beat for the unspoken noun, a very unfriendly noun. It's easy for you olds to tell us to drive it off. Nothing is at stake for you. Personally, it has protected my baby. My daughter's last MRI was totally normal. Not one of the nightmares has come to pass. Congratulations. Good for you. Yvette rolls her eyes. You must think your milk is white gold or something. Excuse me? Believe me, if I thought this thing could protect my kids, I would give it my viscera in a sippy cup, Yvette says. But it can't do shit. Ray and Marie exchange a long look, flaunting their complicity. So what if the old moms are judging them? The old moms have no idea what they are up against. Women like you love to play the martyr, don't you? Yvette says. You would rather this thing be the real devil than admit that you are powerless like the rest of us. Anger tightens Ray's chest. She imagines lunging at haughty, gorgeous Yvette. Women like you love to get Groupon plastic surgery and pretend to be 20. Women like you. You think I've never been tested? You think I've never begged for help? Yvette stares at them. She was a cheerleader in high school, Ray can tell. She has that way of smiling, even while screaming, a red-lipped control. My daughter died, she says, Genevieve, when she was 2 months old. That is why I say I have 4 children, because it would be a lie not to include her. Ray pushes a fist into her mouth. Marie, beside her, starts to whimper. Do you want to know how she died? Yvette folds her manicured hands on the table. Her smile is terrifying. Nobody speaks. Right, she continues. Tell me, honestly, if I had to let that thing suck my tit at night, would she still be alive today? Should I have taken the deal when it was offered? Do you ladies think I killed my daughter? In the silence that follows, Ray hears the spinning of 1,000 roulette wheels. If you believe that, what else do you believe? The stakeout begins at 3 a.m. Bonnie and her sisters run a wildlife removal company, and she shows up in her van. There are enclosures ranging in size from squirrel to panther. Trap and release, Bonnie promises. Nobody gets hurt. Valerie donates a Walla baby sling. Zala brings a case of injectable sedative. Ellen brandishes a cap gun. It's just a toy. I hate guns, personally. Somebody went off registry. Earlier in the evening, Ray had asked her husband if she could give their son his bottles. She was socializing with some new friends. It's a sleepover, actually, she said, a sort of initiation for the new moms group. We take a night off and sleep like the dead. Yvette is hosting. A sleepover? That sounds awkward. But he'd sounded truly happy for her. Ray could take a long time to warm up to people. They parked the van across the street from Ray's house. After so many nights alone, it feels strange to know that the others are watching her. She can't see their faces from the gutter, but she feels self-conscious, lying on her side in a cold sweat, waiting. Right at 4:44, the creature climbs out of the storm drain. Nothing in her lifetime has come to her as reliably as this monster. It keeps a faithful calendar. Yvette must be right. The real devil, Ray feels certain, would not be taken in so easily. Without suspicion, it bounds over to her and begins drinking ecstatically. She waits until its gelid eyelids flutter, then gives the signal. Valerie stands in front of the storm drain. Carol blocks off the exit to Powell. As gently as she can, she inserts the needle. Drugging a devil is no easier and no harder than cutting her baby's fingernails. There is a plexus of vessels under the forked tongue where the detomidine is absorbed. This isn't going to work, she thinks. But as it turns out, her fear of failure changes nothing. It does not slow the progress of the sedative, and soon the creature's chin dribbles against her shoulder. She brushes dirt from the leathery webbing of one paw. Sleeping in her arms, the creature feels no heavier than her own son. In the back of the van, she draws her knees up to her face. Her devil is in a large cat carrier, its fur poking through the holes. You see, Marie prods her. Capybara, for sure. Bonnie drives stick and knows the mountain roads. In the cage, the thing begins to howl in its sleep. Someone hands Bonnie earplugs. The real danger, of course, is the ice on the road. Fucking Portland, she says. We need a cloud of salt to fall now. On a sharp curve, the van fishtails. Every mother is thinking of her child, her children. Who will care for them if I die? The question floats above their heads in a collective thought bubble, like that wordless prayer that unites 200 passengers during airplane turbulence. Let me live. Let me continue. Return me to the earth, alive. Who are you bargaining with? Ray wants to ask. Who do you imagine is listening? Bonnie, watch the goddamn road. They drive for 2 hours and pull over at an arbitrary spot just shy of the sandy border where, if you look down at the glove box and up again, Oregon will have transformed from coniferous forest into high desert. 2 women hoist the carrier, and together they push through the underbrush to a meadow of snow. It is Ray who kneels and opens the door. All right, Ray lies. You're free. They watch in silence as it scampers off. At first, it has a pale, vulpine face. But as it runs, it seems to shimmer in and out of view, its edges melting and revising themselves. Very quietly, almost undetectably, it begins to break apart. Huge-eyed and snuffling, it looks back at the women, a final trick, tugging at the heartstrings. It mewls pitifully, faking a limp. Nobody move, Yvette cautions. But even her eyes are filling. It is hard to watch anything die. As the sun sparkles on the sides of Mount Hood, the creature continues to shapeshift. A wolf cub, a bunny, a kit fox, a spotted fawn. Every animal protagonist of their infant's board looks. Oh dear, it's getting its shape. Poor, motherless thing. Look at it looking. It's exhausted. It can't keep itself together. It doesn't know what it is anymore. It knows it's hungry. It keens at Ray, like something twisted on a spit. pinioned above leaping flames. Snow crosses Yvette's impassive face, and Ray understands why they had to travel hundreds of miles from the children's bedrooms. The sound is shattering and unforgettable, its edges crisp and blackened. The creature bobbles off, unsteady on its legs and disintegrating where the sun pierces its furry body. It screams again, smoke rippling from its shoulders. It turns and fixes the pain-dulled saucers of its enormous eyes on Ray's face. "Mama," it says. "Mama?" It goes streaking into the woods, a burst sack of pure light. It calls to the women in the voices of their children, doing a nightmare karaoke. It shrinks into a whisper, a plea for more life. Hunger with nothing but itself to offer for barter. It seems to levitate, midway up a sunbeam, before disappearing from sight, not with anything as dramatic as a flash, but with a gentle scattering of motes, domestic and unremarkable. On a rock near the trailhead, Valerie discovers its skin, already bubbling with the forest's bright-bodied flies. There is no corpse to bury and nothing left to nurse back to life. Yvette can't stop yawning, for some reason. She buries her face in her hands politely, but it continues for a very long time. The others touch her back and shoulders. Marie is crying openly. Bonnie shows them the hairline cracks in her glasses. Its screams did that. "I'll drive," Ray volunteers. "I'm a pretty good driver, actually." And where has Ray's own mother been all this while? Her mother is still on the other side of the globe, caring for Ray's grandmother in a shadow story, a solemn and uncertain leave-taking, feeding her pureed fruits with a little spoon, combing her 8 remaining hairs. They are so far apart on the parabola that Ray's morning is her mother's night. When the phone rings at an obscene hour, Ray knows it is her mother. At the same moment, they ask each other, "Is everything okay?" While Ray watches, her baby's eyelids crease and open. Sunlight splashes all around the kitchen. Joy threatens to take the roof off the house. The light is almost blinding today. She crouches over him to shelter them both. A feeling leaps into her from the past. "Mother, you felt this way about me." "Yes," her mother says, "and I feel that way about you still." Green world. Ray is learning to identify it very late in this life. Her feet push into the floorboards. Happiness travels through her, heels to skull. She cradles her son. She cradles the phone. Remotely, her mother is cradling her.